At 20, Alexandra Eala carries the hopes of a whole basketball-obsessed country that barely plays her sport, and she's taught herself to make that weight feel small. It is match day. You walk out with a country's name stitched across your back, and the air feels different than any tour stop you have ever played, an entirely different realm. Most players would call that a weight. She calls it the job. The line she leans on is not her own. It belongs to Billie Jean King. Pressure, King said, is a privilege, and Eala decided to believe it before she ever had to prove it. Behind the borrowed phrase sits a colder belief she keeps to herself. Before every match, she tells herself she can beat anyone in the draw, because without that, she says, she would not be on the court at all. There are nights the attention gets loud. The brand deals, the cameras, the millions watching. So she pictures her parents' ordinary struggles, the daily grind of Filipinos she has never met, and the noise shrinks until she feels small again. Her pressure, she once said, is nothing compared to what Filipinos have to face. That thought arrived with her first professional win on home soil, the moment the weight could have crushed her, and instead turned sweet. Ask her who she actually owes, and the list is short. Herself, her family, her team. Give everything to those three, she believes, and the rest follows. But the home crowd changed the math. They no longer hope she brings back gold. They are certain of it. Certainty is heavier than hope, so she refuses to carry the whole country at once. She shrinks it into small, achievable goals. One match, 1 point, the only sizes a mind can actually hold. It held the SEA Games. The country's name on her back, the pressure of a different realm, and she did not fold. She took gold. What keeps the whole thing from collapsing is something she calls her truth, the authenticity her family raised into her, the one part fame cannot rewrite. And yet, months later, looking back on Roland Garros, she does not claim to have beaten it. I am learning to manage the pressure, she says. Learning, present tense, unfinished. So the privilege was still only a theory, until the day it stood across the net from a player who really had beaten everyone. Iga Ashfon Tech, where Eala's mind went in, the seconds after that match is the whole answer, and it was not to herself. The handshake is done. Iga Ashfon Tech is already walking to her chair, and a full stadium is turning to look at you. In the seconds a player usually keeps for herself, Eala is looking somewhere else, at the flags in the crowd. Not at the scoreboard, at the flags. What she reads in them is not the win. It is the nation's hopes, and underneath that, quieter, her own family and everything it gave up to put her on that court. So when the attention swells, and after a night like that it swells fast, she does something deliberate with it. She holds it up against her parents' ordinary week, against every Filipino getting up before dawn to put food on the table. And the noise stops sounding so big. Go back to her first professional win on home soil. The crowd is hers, the pressure is enormous, and the line she reaches for is not about tennis at all. Her pressure, she says, is nothing compared to what Filipinos have to face. Set the roar of an arena against a parent counting out the week's money, and the roar shrinks. She feels small again, and she means to. It is not that the stage got smaller. Carrying the country's name, she has said, belongs to an entirely different realm than a normal tour week. She walked into that realm and won SEA Games gold anyway. The way through it is almost boringly small. Not the hopes of millions, one reachable goal, then the next, while the brand deals and the swirls stay outside the court. The trick is scale. Keep yours small. What keeps her steady under all of it is knowing her own truth, a groundedness she traces straight back to how she was raised. Her first duty, she insists, is to herself, her family, her team. Give everything to them, and the rest follows. So she carries it, step by step, and she has been clear about what the country needs before it needs a champion: more courts. Because behind her, right now, there is no one. A nation that does not play tennis has handed all of it to a single 20-year-old, and it has nowhere yet to build the one who comes after her. It is the SEA Games. You are Alexandra Eala, and the letters stitched above your heart do not spell your name. They spell a country. On tour, a missed forehand cost you a ranking. Here, it belongs to millions who will never hold a racket and never wanted to. She has stood in both, and she refuses to call them the same thing. Competing with the flag on her back, she says, is an entirely different realm than any tour event. Not heavier, different. Every athlete meets this eventually, a nation leaning all of its hope onto one set of shoulders. She knows that. It does not make the walk to the baseline any shorter. You toss the ball. In that half-second of silence, the different realm is simply this. Whatever happens next gets read as the country's, never yours alone. This is the pressure that ends careers before they begin. The prodigy who wins everywhere until the anthem is on the line. She walked into that realm, and she won it. Gold, in the one arena engineered to break her. Not by pretending the weight was lighter, but by shouldering a weight that does not exist on tour and lifting the trophy regardless. She is not chasing the feeling of nothing out there. She is hunting for the healthiest way to carry something this heavy, week after week, without letting it curdle. Because the flag comes off after the medal, and then it goes back on. Again and again. The realm isn't a night she survived, it's the job. The SEA Games handed her a nation in the stands, willing her forward. The next realm hands her nothing but the name on her shirt, in a stadium that flew in to watch someone else win. And that room doesn't care what the letters spell. It is a home tournament, and you have not even reached the baseline. The noise that rolls down to meet you is not asking a question. Every face in that stadium has already decided how the afternoon ends, and the ending they have chosen is you, lifting the trophy. They used to hope, not anymore. Hope was the kinder master. A crowd that only hopes leaves you room to be human. Lose. And it was still a good run, a story about next time. Certainty leaves no room at all. When a nation is sure you will win, gold stops being an achievement. It becomes the baseline, and every result beneath it reads, quietly, as failure. It is the morning of a big match, and somewhere in Manila, a family who has never held a racket is rearranging its whole day around a television. They are not wondering whether she wins. They are asking each other what time the win will happen. That is a heavy thing to hand a 20-year-old. On most players, it would surface somewhere, in the shoulders, in a tightening second serve, in the eyes before the toss. Across a year of swelling expectation, in Alexandra Eala, it mostly has not. She refuses to treat it as some special curse. Carrying a country, she says, is just pressure wearing a flag, the same pressure every athlete meets at some point. The flag only makes it louder. This is the cruelty the crowd never sees. Every time she wins, the certainty grows teeth. Beat a name like Iga Swiatek, and the stands do not exhale in relief. They recalibrate. The floor simply rises again. It's the math of being a first. Nobody's ordinary years make hers look normal. No ceiling someone already broke and lived through. Every step she takes is the highest anyone from home has ever reached. So a country that wants its gold tomorrow keeps hearing her say the one thing it has no patience for. Her answer to all that certainty is not about winning at all. It is about concrete and empty courts and how long greatness actually takes to build. The last ball drops. You have just beaten Iga Swiatek, and every camera in the building swings to find your face. What they find is not what a player who just shocked the tour is supposed to feel. Her attention is somewhere else entirely. On the flags moving in the stands, and on the quiet years her family spent to put her on this court. Until this moment, all of it was only theory. Every habit you watched her build. The small goals, The duty she owes first to her family, then her team. None of it had been tested at the very top. In the one instant the ego is loudest. And it holds. The pressure arrives at full force, and it finds nowhere to land. Go back a year. The ranking climbs. The sponsors start calling. A whole country is suddenly saying her name in the same breath as gold, and she does not flinch. She never once pretends the weight is invented. She calls it part of the job, the thing every athlete collides with sooner or later. And this is where it turns strange. The player with the most proof her method works is the one who refuses to call it finished. The proof is everywhere. She stays unconvinced. A whole country now treats her gold as settled, already counted. She answers that certainty by describing herself, in her own words, as still learning. And what she says she is still learning has nothing to do with trophies. When the country asks for the gold it is sure of, she points instead at empty courts, at concrete not yet poured, and at a number of years it has no patience to hear. If this brought the match back to you, subscribe for the next one.